Welcome back, guys. This is the running back portion of our Owner's Box episode. We decided to switch it up. We're gonna cover our top 5 running back plays this week on the main slate. Soda, how's it going?
It's great. What could be better than talking running backs while drinking a nice cold Coors Light? Mountains are blue, if you're wondering.
Perfect. All right, well let's jump right into it. Before we get to our top 5, Soda, any running backs that you want to talk about before we get to our top 5? Any honorable mentions or anything?
Yeah. So what we did this week for the listeners is Adam and I did a lot of research. We actually were both up till 2 a.m. last night discussing our top 5, coming together in agreement. Mine were better than his as usual, but we came to an agreement on some of them. So we have our top 5, but then we have obviously the good plays still, and really just got to look at value and what you might be able to fit in. So we want to throw some honorable mentions out there. For me, one that sticks out for sure, and I know you're probably going to say this one, was Stevenson for the Patriots. I can't ever say his first name right, so I'm not going to say it. But let's see where he's at here. I think he's a great play against the Lions. We all know how bad the Lions defense is. Although they split carries, they seem to want to get him more involved in the offense than Damien Harris. So I personally like that play. What do you think?
Yeah, I love Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah, like you said, 51% of the snaps, but his carries have been going up every single week. He had 14 last week, 4 receptions, and I think especially if they have a backup quarterback in, and it might possibly even be Bailey Zappi, I think Belichick will do his best to work in the run game. We might see like the type of game they had against the Bills last year where they passed like 4 times and they found a way to win. So I think we'll see a lot of Stevenson.
Yeah, he seems to be, for the most part, more involved in the passing game than Damien Harris, it seems like.
Yeah.
Obviously, Damien Harris is a little bit more of the goal line back, but we all know Belichick likes to ride the hot hand too, so.
Yeah, you never know. It'll be tough to come by a touchdown for Stevenson, but at his price tag, he's always a good play over on Owner's Box.
For sure.
All right,
I know I kind of stole your honorable mention there. Do you have an honorable mention in mind?
No, that was my guy. I also like Jeff Wilson a lot. He's right below there at 5,300. I think that's just a really good price for a workhorse back. The Niners love to run the ball. You see 18 carries last week and a touchdown. I think he's a good price for a workhorse back for sure.
Agreed. So obviously the number one back there, he's going to get the workload, like you said. I don't think you can go wrong with that play. Should probably be playing with the lead in that game, so that's always good game script as well.
And then we obviously have a lot of pending injuries, so you want to keep an eye on guys like Montgomery and DeAndre Swift, see where they're at in the injury report. If they end up being hurt, they're backups. They were good plays last week. They'll probably be good plays again this week.
Yeah, I mean, I personally love this feature about Owner's Box. I guess I don't really get on the other DFS apps from the computer very often, but I love the ability to change it quickly to see. You want to see just the yellow, if I know how to work it right.
See who's all questionable, see who's active, see who's out.
Jeez,
that's a nice feature.
Right, though.
But we'll jump in.
Work it right, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll jump into our top 5 here. We're starting off at number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back, Leonard Fournette. He's playing against the 26th ranked team against running backs. He had a horrible week last week, but the game script just went against him. They're losing to the Chiefs. But I think they are going to work hard to get him involved, and I am going to have him in a lot of lineups this week.
Yeah, and I think the reason I like this play so much is people like to look at last week and then kind of fade him. 3 carries, negative rush yards. Like, what are you thinking playing Leonard Fournette is what people are going to think from initial look. But I agree with you. I think it's one of those games where they overcompensate. Probably going to hand the ball off a lot. It's going to be a great game script for him. I know he likes to call himself playoff Lenny, but I feel a regular season Lenny game coming here. Big game for him.
Yeah, I think he'll have a big week. And looking at it, I said he had a terrible week. I turned the game off early. I did not realize he was that involved in the passing game, so he really made a decent game for himself. But hoping to see him carry the ball a little bit more this week.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the upside with him. Even if somehow the game script turns into more of a pass game with him and he doesn't run the ball much, he's still got the upside in the pass game. TB loves his running backs in the pass game, and Lenny's going to get his. So,
yeah. Moving on to number 4, we have Austin Eckler. Soda, you were high on Eckler this week. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, for me, this was one of my number 1 plays. I just feel, I don't know, part of it is just a feeling with him. I think he is just going to have a huge game against the Browns. Browns defense has not looked up to par so far this year. I just think he's got a big game in him. I think he's going to probably hit pay dirt a couple times. This was my favorite play on the whole slate. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay. Well, he's ranked 10th at running back. Obviously had the huge week last week. He had 3 touchdowns last week. Looks like 13 carries, 60 yards. Again, he gets involved in the passing game. OwnersBox is PPR, so a running back that gets involved in the passing game can be huge for you.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. He's got 4 receptions week 1, but other than that, he's getting more targets and receptions than a lot of receivers we're going to pick later. So,
yeah,
it's invaluable.
Sure. All right, that brings us to number 3, and this is more of a value play. Remember, we're not ranking who we think is going to score the most points this week. We are talking about players that we're going to try to get into our lineup as much as possible. And this week, we both like Raheem Mostert. So, do you want to start?
Absolutely. You know how I feel about old Teddy Bridgewater. I am not a big believer in check down Teddy. I think Mostert's shown the ability to run the ball when needed. For the Dolphins, they just haven't wanted to run the ball much this year because of Tua, respectively. But I think with check down Teddy in the game, oh yeah, he's going to be very involved. For that value, hard to pass up.
Yeah, the crazy thing is OwnersBox still has him cheaper than Chase Edmonds. And Raheem Mostert played 72% of the snaps last week. So they're kind of making it clear that he's the guy. And you see on our screen here, he had 15 carries for 69 yards, and he was on the field for 72% of the snaps. The only problem is Edmonds is the guy that's getting in the end zone. He's sneaking in for touchdowns. Edmonds could have very easily had 2 touchdowns last week. He dropped one, and then he ran one in later. But just based on the touches, you got to go with Mostert and the price. You know, he's a good value this week. What's he priced at here, Soda?
Oh, I got X out of it here.
The X is right there on the right.
Yeah. 4,700.
Right. 4,700. The Jets give up the most fantasy points to running backs. Raheem Mostert's a good play this week. He is our number 3. That brings us to number. Go ahead.
Does he return kickoffs or punts? He must, obviously.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about OwnersBox is you can get points for that because there's no defense or special teams, so you can get points for return yards and punt return and kick return yards and touchdowns.
Huge bonus right there too.
Another bonus from Mostert.
4,700. Can't pass that up. All right, moving on.
That moves us to our number 2 running back of the week, King Derrick Henry. Why do we like Derrick Henry this week, Soda?
Well, the Commanders are just really bad. I mean, really bad. And he got it going last week. You know, he got off to a slow start, but you look at the game logs here, he got it going last week. Titans have figured it out. I don't know, they forgot that they needed to run the ball apparently the first 2 weeks and struggled. But they're back on track. And
Yeah,
like I said, the Commanders stink.
Yeah, the Titans are back to doing what they do best. And you just look at his touches every week. He's going up every week. 22 carries, a touchdown, and that's what we're looking for when we play daily fantasy. I mean, he's even getting targets in the pass game now. I think he had six last week. He had 6 targets in the pass game. So I love Derrick Henry in this spot against the Commanders for sure.
I mean, I told you earlier when we were trying to figure out our top 5 plays, I think he's going to score 3 touchdowns this week. That's 18 points right there. This
has to be your number one guy.
Yeah, I think I did say
I don't understand how you said
but
Eckler was your number one when you think Derrick Henry is going to score 3 touchdowns. Is Eckler going to score 7 or?
I mean, Eckler might score 3 too.
Yeah,
be nice to have them both, and that'd be pretty awesome, huh?
Well, that's our number 2. Soda can't decide who his favorite player on the slate is.
I love them all.
But that brings us to our number 1 running back on the main slate. I had to talk Soda into this one. This was more my guy. So I will take more blame if he doesn't show up, but I am not worried about it because this guy is going to show up. This guy going against Austin Eckler. It is Nick Chubb for the Cleveland Browns. I know some people are worried that they're going to get behind. He's going to get scripted out. Nick Chubb does not get scripted out of the Browns offense. Look at these touches. This guy gets so many carries. And that's why I love Nick Chubb this week. And the Chargers are 28th against running backs allowing fantasy points. So I love Nick Chubb this week.
The scripted out thing just does not work when Jacoby Brissett is their quarterback. When my guy Deshaun's back, he could get scripted out of a game for sure. But I like Jacoby Brissett. He's a fine quarterback, but you don't script out one of the top running backs in the game when you got Jacoby Brissett behind center. I just don't think he's going to get scripted out. And I know you kind of had to talk me into this one, but it probably is a good play. Probably as good as the Derrick Henry or Eckler play. I'm not going to lie.
Yep. There's just a lot of touches there. But any 5 of these guys that you can get into your lineup, again, we'll recap it. We got Leonard Fournette at 5, Austin Eckler at 4, Raheem Mostert at 3, Derrick Henry at 2, and then Nick Chubb as our top running back play this week. If you can get those guys in your lineup, you're set.
Absolutely. Good luck finding a better top 5 list than that.
That is all for us on this running back episode. Stay manly, everybody.